I probably shouldn't tell you that because it was, going to be one of those great mythical secrets of the music industry. But hey, there you go. What the hell is RDH? So, RDH is me, Richard Larkham. And I guess the name for RDH has probably been around for a good 10, 12 years, maybe. Something like that. My take on the story is I was writing songs and my good friend Chris Leckie said, oh yeah, Richard does heavy. And I kind of shortened it to RDH basically as a thing. I probably shouldn't tell you that because it was, going to be one of those great mythical secrets of the music industry. But hey, there you go. First gambit straight out there. RDH. Richard does heavy. Now you know. So, RDH itself, I suppose in a way, me writing music, I've always written music since I was a teenager. And, we had a band throughout my teenage years into my early 20s, and we had various projects after that, and there's always so much music I'd written over time, riffs everywhere and what have you. And essentially we built the Big Rock Room kind of throughout 2009, and we moved in 2010, and we kind of had a project going, and I thought that was going to be my kind of musical output, and that was where, there's a lot of material recorded at that point, and that kind of fell apart. And I was so annoyed at how it all went down, and, I was kind of just like, right, fuck everybody, I will do this myself. And the Big Rock Room itself, the fact that it's digital, we had the electronic drums, which were far easier to record and manipulate. All of a sudden, the world was my oyster, and it was basically the start of RDH as it is now, and the album came from that. Basically, was me pissed off at the world saying, "Well, fuck it, I'll do this by myself then," and that is essentially what happened. So, essentially, like I say, there was that moment in time where it was like, right, I'm doing this, I'm gonna write my own songs. But if you turn the clock back a little bit, in 2000, I'd kind of wrote what I'd written kind of like 10 or 12 songs as demos. They were on a little Boss DR770 drum machine in my little office in my house at the time, and it was kind of a culmination of new songs, riffs and ideas, and there was no vocals on it. It was just instrumental basically. But essentially that was the basis, the kind of the start of it. And then obviously come to 2010, 11, everything had fallen apart in the studio, and it's like, right, I'm going to do this. And I'd just been toying with some ideas at the time, so that is when it really kind of came together, and like, this is what we're going to do. And that's when I started to flesh out and write the songs and actually come up with a real plan of an album, essentially, which ended up as the first 10 songs, which ended up as the album, basically. About 6 years. So, why did it take so long? So, it started off well. I wrote the first couple of songs and tracked them, and essentially I had the kind of crux of the album pretty quickly. And then it was kind of like just finessing the songs, and with my touring work and my mental health, things took a lot longer. And then I think it was probably 2015, something like that maybe, I kind of came out of the Christmas period, I had a bit of time off, so I kind of went, right, I'm going to track the song. So I came in, I tracked all the guitars, I did all the vocals, and essentially tracked it. Happy as Larry. Kind of went off to tour, was listening to those kind of rough mixes and stuff, and I realised there was a popping on the vocal. There was like this weird or something, and I was so annoyed because it was like 4 years into the project. I was so annoyed. I don't think I listened to the album for possibly a year, it felt like a year, probably was a year. And then I remember, you know, conversations between me and Paul, and we came in and essentially fixed all those vocals recently. It was I, and there's a lot of I's in the album, you know, there's a lot of, you know, heavy, there's a lot of I's in the album. For some reason that was popping, making this weird noise, and we couldn't fix it. So yeah, we basically went through every track and re-sang all the vocals that I needed to, which took time, and it happened. And then again, just started to mix it, and it was a learning curve. Everything was a learning curve, and it just, you know, my mental health, the procrastination, the fear, you know, what I have, what musicians have, and it just seemed to take a long time. And then I eventually kind of set a kind of goal, and we went for it, which was 25th of September 2017, and finally I kind of committed to it and did it, you know, and it felt like a weight off my mind to actually do it finally. So RDH to me is just, it's what I write. You know, I'm not the greatest musician, you know, I understand my limitations. You know, I have a style which is probably based around my musical limitations, but essentially the music that formed me during the early 90s and whatever, you know, Pantera, Metallica, Slayer, Biohazard, Fear Factory, Crowbar, you know, these influences to me feel like they're all there, you know what I mean? There's a couple of songs where you go, it wasn't knowingly doing it, but you listen back and go, God, that's my kind of Slayer riff, that's kind of my Pantera riff, that's my nod to Dime or whatever, you know what I mean, my hero. So I feel all of those things are there, and you know, I've always struggled with my vocalist. I was always the vocalist by default because we couldn't find anyone else to sing, you know, and I feel my voice kind of came together a lot on the album. I've always liked, you know, I like aggressive vocals, but I've always liked, you know, a kind of singing melodicness, and I hope the album's got that. The album's got some cool riffs, it's got some cool thrash, it's got some cool heavy stuff. It's you know, the kind of music I like and have liked, and you know, that's I think it just wears my influences proudly without actually fully copying anything, you know what I mean? It's a kind of got a good amalgamation of everything. So from Out of the Darkness, so what basically happened was, you know, obviously the lyrical content kind of came together, and a lot of it is to do with my mental illness and everything around that, trying to stay positive, trying to push forward in life, and you know, so it just felt like, even though a lot of the songs were tinged or born out of kind of that thought process and that kind of overbearing feeling, I also felt there was a real kind of positiveness to the outcome of a lot of the songs, you know. So From Out of the Darkness felt like, because I don't actually ever say it within the album either. There's no lyric in the album that says From Out of the Darkness. It just felt like, as I was coming to the end of the project, and as everything was kind of coming together, it felt like the right thing. It felt like I'd, you know, during the whole writing and recording process, I'd gone through many bouts of darkness, and this felt like I was finally on top of it. I was coming out of it. The lyrics a lot of the lyrics have that positive spin towards the end of the songs, and it felt like the right thing. You know, it felt like the common thread of the album was like, yeah, coming, you know, emerging from out of the darkness. So that's where that came from. RDH, bizarrely, there is a ton of material. I think right now I'm sitting on about 23 songs. I probably about a year ago now, I kind of came into flesh out a few ideas and ended up very prolifically writing, and ended up with 10 very almost finished songs. And then I'd kind of been doing other things, and I had, again, some other ideas and bits left over, and then that came together pretty quickly. And there's another kind of 10 songs, a little bit, some are more finished than others and whatever. And then very recently there's another 3 songs being worked on. So there's a ton of ideas. It's cool, it feels like it's RDH, but I think vocally it's there's a lot, my vocals are getting better and stuff. Yes, there's a bright future, and hopefully with our newfound theories on releasing music, there's going to be a lot more RDH coming your way very soon.